The weeks leading up to court were some of the hardest days of Lila's life. She had barely processed the breakdown of her marriage when Micah's family dropped another bombshell: custody. It wasn't just divorce anymore. Now it was a fight for Noah. The boy she carried in her arms when she was exhausted after 2 jobs. The boy who clung to her skirt when he was sick. The boy who called her name in the middle of the night when bad dreams came. Micah's family wanted to take him away. Lila could hardly believe it. They claimed she was overwhelmed, that she was working too much, and that Noah would be better off with them. But Lila knew the truth. This wasn't about Noah's best interest. It was about control. Micah had never been able to stand on his own feet, and his mother, who had always wanted him back under her roof, saw Noah as another string to keep him tied to her. Money was the first obstacle. Lila didn't have the resources to hire an attorney. Every cent she earned went toward rent, food, daycare, and clothes for Noah. When she thought about how Micah's family could easily afford a lawyer, her chest felt tight. She stayed up late at night, poring over legal guides she found at the library, reading stories of other mothers who had fought custody battles alone. Her pastor encouraged her to stay strong amidst the challenges she faced. You're Noah's mother, Lila. The bond you have with him is stronger than any argument they can make. Don't be afraid. Walk into that courtroom with your head high. So she prepared. She gathered daycare receipts, doctor's notes, church attendance records, photos of Noah in her care, all the evidence she could find to show the stability and love she provided. When the day finally came, Lila dressed carefully in her only formal skirt suit. Her hands trembled as she buttoned her blouse. She took Noah to daycare early and whispered a prayer before stepping into the courthouse. Micah was already there, sitting with his parents and their lawyer. They looked confident, collected, and ready to tear her apart. Micah himself sat slouched, avoiding her eyes, as though he had no part in this. His mother, on the other hand, looked at Lila with a sharp glint of triumph. Your Honor, while we respect Miss Lila's devotion to her son, it is clear she cannot provide the stable environment Noah requires. She works 2 jobs, is absent from the home for long hours, and often leaves Noah in daycare. My clients, Noah's grandparents, have the means and time to raise Noah in a nurturing full-time environment. Lila sat silently at the defendant's table, her palms sweating. She wanted to shout, to tell the court that these were lies twisted into half-truths. But when it was her turn, she stood up, her voice trembling but firm. Your Honor, I may not have the money they do. I may not have a big house or a family network here, but I have one thing that no one else in this courtroom has: Noah's trust. I am his mother. I am the one who holds him when he's sick, who teaches him to pray before bed, who works long hours not because I want to be away from him, but because I have to provide for him. After hours of back and forth, the judge finally delivered his ruling. His words came down like a gavel strike that could not be undone. This court has considered the evidence from both parties. While it is true that Miss Lila carries a heavy workload, I find no evidence of neglect or inability to provide. In fact, the opposite is true. Her dedication to this child is evident and commendable. Therefore, I rule that custody shall be joint. However, the child shall reside primarily with his mother in the matrimonial home. Visitation shall occur on weekends with the father. The court will not allow removal of Noah from his established home environment. Lila's knees nearly gave way with relief. Tears welled in her eyes, and she covered her mouth to keep from sobbing out loud. Micah's mother gasped in protest, whispering furiously to her husband. Micah looked away, shame flickering across his face. The gavel struck. It was decided. Noah would stay with her. Outside the courthouse, the air was thick with tension. Micah's mother stormed past Lila without a word, her face red with fury. Micah trailed behind, saying nothing, his hands stuffed in his pockets. Lila stood on the steps, breathing deeply. She felt victorious, but she also knew this was only the beginning. Joint custody meant more conflict, more negotiating, more clashing with Micah's parents. And she was right. The months that followed were full of petty disputes. Micah's parents accused her of not packing Noah's favorite toys, of feeding him the wrong food, of letting him stay up too late. Lila learned to document everything, from what Noah ate to what time he went to bed. But nothing prepared her for the day she arrived at their home to pick Noah up. It was a bright Saturday afternoon. Lila parked her car and walked to the door, expecting to find Noah ready with his little backpack. Instead, Micah's mother opened the door with a strange smile. "Come in." Lila stepped inside and froze. There, standing in the middle of the living room, was Noah. But he wasn't dressed in his usual jeans and t-shirt. He was wearing a frilly pink dress, with ribbons in his hair and shiny shoes on his feet. He looked confused, tugging at the fabric as though it itched. Lila's heart pounded. "What is this? Oh, don't overreact. We just thought it would be fun. Took him to the mall like this earlier. Everyone thought he was adorable." Her words rang in Lila's ears like an alarm. She crouched down and pulled Noah close, feeling his little hands clutch her arm. He looked embarrassed, like he didn't understand why Grandma wanted him to wear those clothes. It wasn't just about a dress. It was about control, about undermining her as a mother, about rewriting who Noah was for their own amusement or agenda. Lila stood up, fire blazing in her chest. She didn't know what her next words would be, but she knew one thing for certain. This battle was far from over. What will happen next? Stay tuned for the next episode, as we learn how Lila confronts Micah's family over this shocking act, and how she plans to protect Noah from being caught in the tug-of-war between the two families.